Good day, students. Welcome to your lesson 2.1 lesson in science, technology, and society. So today, we will talk about flourishing. Okay? So the lesson objective, for this lesson is at the end of this lesson, the student should be able to first is to identify different conceptions of human flourishing, determine the development of scientific method and the validity of science, and critic human flourishing vis-a-vis progress of science and technology to be able to define for themselves the meaning of good life. Okay. So first, we will talk about science, technology, and human flourishing. So, Eudaimonia. Okay. So this is a Greek term, no, that is literally mean good spirited. So a term coined by Aristotle. So this is Aristotle, no? As you can see below his picture. Eudaimonia describe the pinnacle of happiness that is attainable by humans. So has often been translated into human flourishing. So the Western civilization tends to be more focused on the individual, based on the individual's values, no? Rather than his belief that the state is greater than him. Okay? Masyadong individual-centered ang philosophy ng Western civilization. Unlike the East, no? It is more community-centric. So what does community-centric mean? So community-centric means that the community takes the highest regard that the individual should sacrifice himself for the sake of the society. Okay, so what are the example of community-centric? So an example of community-centric is what we have previously discussed in our previous lesson, no, the earliest civilization in the Mesoamerica civilization, the Aztec, no, they are part of community, no, like China, like India, and like ourselves, no, the early Filipinos which have an early tribes, no, in the early Philippines. Okay, so Western civilization, no, usually actually Western civilization started in Europe, no. Um, in particular, usually in Greece, no, kasi doon nanggaling si Aristotle, and philosophy was started there, no. The term philosophy means philo, and sophia means the love of wisdom. Okay, so it started there kasi yun na nga, mas focus siya sa individual. So every discovery, innovation, and success contributes to our pool of human knowledge. Okay? Every discovery, innovation, and the success of that innovation, no, it will contribute, no, in the pool of human knowledge afterwards, no. So humans perpetual needs to locate himself in the world by finding proofs to trace evolution. So the end goal of both science and technology and human flourishing are related. Okay? Kasi human flourishing in the term human flourishing, flourishing means it grows, no? Or nagpaparami siya. So nagpaparami ba ang human? Or the state, of course, when an organism is happy, when an organism is really adapted, no, to a certain environment that is not hostile, then there is a flourish of that kind of species. So of course, ang human is included in that because we are also organism, no? A multi-cellular organism. Okay, so in that, the good is inherently related to the truth, are two concepts about science with ventures its claims on truth. Okay, so this is the look at the picture here, no? So we have creativity, the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. Okay, so creativity means when you use your imagination to use it something useful. So when that creativity will be later on be an invention, so that invention will create a new idea or concept, no? Not hindi lang invention is not only material things, like when you invent a vehicle, when you invent a computer. It's not only like that. Invention included the invention of new concept and ideas. Okay? So innovation. So what is an innovation? It is a turning a new concept into a commercial success or widespread use. So pag na-invent na, so if it of course when you invent something, it is most probably it's a necessity. Okay? Necessity, it means it is needed. Okay? So when it is needed, no, it means it is needed by one particular individual, it must be needed by some individual also. So when you say innovation, it means you will mass produce that kind of maybe broom or a vehicle, no, to a commercial, no. It means you will multiply that, no, and then give or sell it maybe to be to be used by other people or individual. Okay? So, first, we will talk is what is science. Good. Grabe, parang, wow, what is this? Parang we will go to basic, ma'am, because we are um, defining what is science. This is a high school topic, no? So, way back when we were in high school, usually our teachers in science just make us memorize what is the meaning of science, no, and then afterwards it will go into your quiz, what is science, like that. But then you cannot the problem of memorizing, no, of a concept is you cannot really pinpoint what is really the importance of it and the use, no. So I know what is science. I memorized what is the meaning of science. Now I will ask you, do you know what is the use of science? Do you know really what is really the importance of science? The scale of the importance of science. Okay? So that's what we are talking right now. Okay, so there are many meaning of science actually. I took this the meaning of I have four examples here, no, in different references. I'm sorry I did not put the reference. Actually, that's my mistake. Actually, there are four different references. So we need to practice, no, to put the references, because in the future, no, especially the 4-year courses, the Bachelor of Science courses, you will have your thesis writing, and this is uh, a very important skill, that every time you will quote something out of an internet or magazine, you must put the reference on it. So my mistake. So I I hope you will not do what I did not today. So first is the intellectual activity compassing a systematic study of structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. Next, a systematically organized body of knowledge on a particular object. Another meaning of science. It is a systematic enterprise that builds and organizes knowledge in the form of testable explanation and prediction about the universe. And the last one meaning, any system of knowledge that is concerned with the physical world and its phenomena that entails unbiased observation and systematic experimentation. So now, what is science? Ma'am, ang daming meaning ng science. Ma'am, naguguluhan na ako. Ang dami palang meaning ng science bawat reference. Okay? So, observe. No? Observe the four definition of science. There is a one term there that stands out and that is common. Okay? So, your guess is right. It is the term systematic. Okay? Or system. So what does it mean, systematic or system? Bakit yan, ma'am, nandyan talaga, ma'am, sa definition? Actually, hindi pwede maging definition ng science without the term of systematic. Later on, we will know why. Okay? So, why is it systematically? Okay? So, why is it systematic? Why is it, what is the synonym of systematic? Systematic means organization. Organization, orderly, or the order. Okay, so that is systematic. Okay, so now we will proceed. The answer to our question is in the next slide. Okay, now we will talk about what is scientific method. Okay, First, we will define what is scientific method. Scientific method is an empirical method of acquiring knowledge that has characterized the development of science since at least in the 17th century. Okay? So it involves careful observation, applying rigorous skepticism about what is observed, given the cognitive assumption can distort how one interprets the observation. Okay? So that is the meaning of scientific method. So, paano masasagot, ma'am, na bakit lahat ng scientific method, kung bakit systematic lahat, may systematic lahat ng definition ng science? It is because in a vast of knowledge, okay, so we will go back to the, the definition. Let's go to the second definition of science. To the body of knowledge, okay, the body of knowledge, when you say about knowledge, when you say about idea, when you say about concept, okay, like that, it is very vast, no? Knowledge is very vast. It's the body of knowledge is very vast. Anything that you think of, it is knowledge. Anything that you learn, it is knowledge, and it's very vast, no? Masyadong malaki, no? You cannot imagine the vastness of knowledge. Masyadong marami. Bakit? Kasi knowledge is the combination of the literacy of all human being. Kasi bakit human being lang? Because human being is the only one that can be a rational. Because human being is a rational being according to logic subject. Okay? It is only the human being that can be logical and rational. Okay? So, now, in that body of knowledge, hindi yan lahat science class. Okay? Hindi yan lahat science. Hindi, it doesn't mean na pag knowledge yan, automatic science yan. No. Okay? So now, how can we regard a knowledge if it is a scientific? Paano natin malalaman kung science ba yan? Okay? So ngayon, nandito na tayo sa scientific method. Kasi the scientific method requires a step-by-step order and systematic procedure. Okay? Is, my definition of the scientific method procedure familiar? Did I say systematic? Did I say organization? Yes. Okay? So, scientific method requires a step-by-step procedure. Okay? So, I know that you're familiar with this because when we were in high school, in the first year until in the fourth year, in our science subject, we have chemistry, we have physics, we have biology. In the first page of the book, it is always saying what is the definition of science and what is the scientific method. Did you question why it is always like that? In every science book, there is always topic about scientific method because scientific method is very important in science. Why? Its role, no? The role of the scientific method class, it's like a quality control. Okay? It sinusort out niya yung knowledge, no? Kung ito scientific ba to or hindi to scientific. Okay? So paano yan, ma'am? Pag makapasa dito sa kanyang step-by-step procedure, ito na yung observe, and then you must determine the problem, and then you must formulate a hypothesis, and then you conduct an experiment, and then you gather and analyze result, and then the last one, you will formulate a conclusion and provide a recommendation. So, first thing first, observe. Sa observation pa lang, okay, it requires that an idea will be measurable. Okay? What do you mean measurable, ma'am? Pwede siyang ma-measure. There are two kinds of measurement. That there is a qualitative measurement and there is a quantitative measurement. Dapat pumasa dyan pa lang sa number 1. Kasi, pag dyan pa lang sa number 1, hindi na yan ma-measure at via quantitative and via qualitative, it cannot be considered as scientific. So, that is the role of the scientific method. Okay? Do you understand? How, yan ang importansya niya. Kasi, sa scientific method, siya yung nag-sort of, ito scientific tong knowledge ito hindi ito scientific. So, ma'am, what is an example of hindi scientific method? Like for example, ghost. Okay? Love. Okay? Kasi sa love kasi is hindi din siya pwedeng there is kakasabi ko lang niya, I've told you there is two kinds of measurement. There is qualitative method and the quantitative method. Okay? Let's start first with the quantitative measurement. The quantitative measurement is anything that can be measured. Okay? Like for example, measured with numbers. Okay, sorry. Like for example, the temperature. Okay. Next, the length of the table. Okay, or your height. That is a measurement. Another, the weight of a person or the weight of rice. Okay? So, for example, like 20 kilograms, that is quantitative. Okay? Or the number of people in a room, that is quantitative. Okay? So, the qualitative method is the qualitative measurement is another measurement. So, this measurement, kung ang quantitative gumagamit ng instrument, no? For example, like the my first example, like the temperature, we are using thermometer. When you take the length of a table, you use ruler, so it requires an instrument. Okay, when you take the weight of a certain object, you will use a weighing scale. Okay, so that is instrument, no, a measurement instrument. Okay, so there are many kinds of instrument. There is a measuring the salinity of a solution, no? That is a refractometer. Okay, so there are many kinds of instrument, no? So for the qualitative, there is no instrument that can use, but you use the five senses. Okay, so what are those five senses? The senses, the sense of sight, the sense of smell, the sense of touch, the sense of hearing, and the sense of taste. Okay? So, bakit ma'am? Anong nami-measure ng five senses natin? Okay. Like for example, the sense of taste can determine how sweet is for example, you were given a cake. Okay? So, ikukuhan sa'yo, is it too sweet? Or tama-tama lang ba ang sweetness niya? Or walang lasa? Okay? So, merong bang instrument ang kayang mag-determine ng ganyan? Wala, no? Tao lang ang kayang mag-determine ng ganyan. Kung kaya niya bang i-determine kung malasa ba ang pagkain, kung masarap ba ang pagkain, ganyan. Walang robot or something technology that can do that, kundi tao lang. So that is the reason why nakukuha niya siya sa qualitative. Okay, another like for example the sense of sight. Okay, the sense of sight. Okay? So for example, like you are i-determine mo kung anong kulay yan. No, there are computer actually na there are computer actually na kayang mag-determine ng color ng isang bagay, but not as accurate as the human sight. Okay? So ganun yan siya, and observation. Okay, so dyan pa lang, pagbagsak na ang isang idea or isang knowledge or concept, then hindi na siya scientific. Okay? So, that is how important scientific method is to science. Okay, so now we will move on to verification theory. So, we will talk about what is verification theory. Okay, so, tapos na tayo, no? Natapos na tayo doon sa science, and then, yung pala yung quality control, nag-sort out ng idea, yung pala ang scientific method. Ay, yung palang ginagawa ng scientific method. Bakit hindi na maintindihan? Pinamemorize lang man yan sa amin. So, naintindihan nyo na ngayon. So, now, we will proceed to the verification theory. Okay. So, now, verification theory is the earliest criterion that distinguishes philosophy and science. Okay. So, the idea proposes that a discipline is science if it can be confirmed or interpreted in an event of an alternative hypothesis being accepted. Okay? So, several budding theories that lack empirical result must be shut down prematurely. Okay? So, causing it slower and innovation and pushing ingenuity of newer and novel thoughts. So what does this means, no? What does verification theory means? Okay, for example, like an idea, nakapasa na sa scientific method kasi kuan na ano to tawag ito na yung na you have already concluded, no, for this particular idea. Okay? So now, mapupunta ka na sa verification theory. So it means na i-verify yan ang iyong conclusion, no, in your research, no, for example, or observation. I-verify na yan ng ibang a scientist or a specialist na the same ang specialization doon sa topic, no? Remember that knowledge is vast. Sa topic mo in particular, may topic yan siya under dyan. Itatanong kung tama ba itong kung i-verify niya, oh yes, this is tama. Or gagawa ba siya ng the same method na ginawa mo para ma-verify lang yung ginawa mo kung tama ba yung ginawa mo. Or para ma-come up mo yung conclusion na yon. Okay? So this theory completely fails to weed out bogus arguments that explain things coincidentally. So itong theory na to, sinusort out niya na, shutdown niya na lahat ng mga arguments na hindi naman ganun ka importante, no? Remember class, kaya tayo merong meron tayong research. Kasi research okay, actually ang research kung titingnan niyo napaka-similar ng kanyang format sa scientific method. Actually, yan talaga it is not an accident na ganyan yan. Kasi talagang ginanyan yan kasi remember when you make a research, it is really under science talaga. Okay? So it's the same with the BS DevCom. BS, remember that is a Bachelor of Science in Development Communication. Ma'am, bakit Bachelor of Science? Hindi naman kami science. DevCom naman kami. Yes, DevCom kayo, pero kaya nga kayo Bachelor of Science. Remember, ang science is hindi lang siya narrow down to laboratory and chemistry and biology and microscopes. No, not like that. Kakasabi ko lang, no, science is a vast knowledge. No, it's very vast knowledge. Okay? So, nung nagiging science lang yan pag sinusort out na yan ni scientific method. Okay? So, etong verification theory, bini-verify na. Kung example, na-sort out ka na na-sort out na yung conclusion mo ng scientific method, mas i-verify yan. Kung baga, dito, nire-refine na yan kung tama ba yung conclusion mo or yung idea mo or hindi. So that is what is a verification theory means. So next, another. Falsification theory. Okay, so Karl Popper is a known proponent of this view. Okay, so asserts that as long as an ideology is not proven to be false and can be best explain a phenomenon over alternative theories, it allowed emergence of theories otherwise rejected by verification theory. Okay? So, hindi ka pwedeng mapupunta dito sa hindi ka pwedeng mapupunta dito sa falsification theory kapag hindi ka pa makadaan doon sa verification theory. So, it encouraged research in order to determine which among the theories can stand the test of falsification. Okay? So, ang na to is, pag hindi na-prove na mali ang phenomenon na to or ang idea mo, hindi yan siya na-prove, okay na yan siya dyan. No? As long as okay siya, nakapasa siya ng verification theory, the idea or the concept can stay as it is. Unless kapag merong isang research or the research was really strong na pwedeng i-falsify ang iyong concept. Tapos magiging obsolete na yan. So, grabe ma'am, ganyan pala talaga ka-stricto kapag makukuha, no? Kapag gagawa ka ng research? Yes. Parang kumbaga, sa scientific method, sasalain ka sa malalaking butas, dadaan ka na naman sa verification theory, nasasalain ka na sa mas finer na salaan, and sa falsification theory, mas finer na. Kaya nga, this is the reason no, kaya may mga books tayo, o yung mga references natin, we owe that into this system. Okay? Kaya nga systematic ang science because this have a system. Dapat may dinadaan na protocol. Okay? Before it is considered a science and an idea. Okay? So, yan yun. So, hindi pala basta-basta, ma'am. Yes, hindi yan basta-basta. Okay. Okay, now we will go to after we have talked about what is science, no, what is really science, now we will talk about science and its science as a social endeavor. Okay, so um, a new school of thought in the proper demarcation criterion of science emerged. So explores the social dimensions of science and effectivity in the technology. So the new perpetuates a dimension which generally benefits the society. Science ceased to belong solely to gown-wearing, bespectacled scientists at laboratories. So yun ang sinasabi ko kanina. Na merong misconception about sciences na pag science, merong microscope, may lab gown, merong tawag goggles, no? Kapag nasa laboratory ka, no? It's not like that. Let's go back to your courses class. Like for example, the Bachelor of Science in Development Communication. It's science. Why? Because your course, your field, and your specialization use science, no? Because there is a system, no, in the curriculum of the development communication. Hindi yan siya tambulikaw, no? Hindi yan arts, no? Ang arts kasi it's a free that's the reason why arts is a very different from science, kasi kung sa science napaka-stricto, dapat organized, dapat may system. Ang arts naman is it's a free, kung anong gusto mo, kung gusto mo mag-start sa last hanggang sa pinakataas, kung gusto mo mag-start sa taas hanggang sa pinakalas or sa gitna, depende na yan sa iyo because that's arts, no? It's not science. Okay? So hindi pwedeng maging ganun ang curriculum ng development communication because it will be chaotic. Okay? Chaotic masyado yan. Okay? So, the same lang din sa Bachelor of Science in Information Technology, your curriculum is also a systematic curriculum. Okay? That's the reason why this is a BS. Okay? So, next. Okay. So, let's see why science is important to society. Okay? So, of course, we know that it is always, science is always, the term science and technology is always, parang kambal yan sila parati, no? Parating magkasama yan ng science and technology. Why? Because for every moment na ang science nag-i-improve, no? The technology is always improving also. They have a direct relationship. Okay? Kumbaga, kung sa tawag. They have a direct relationship. So let's see on this image, no? So society demands more in science, okay? And society benefits from technology. Okay? Di ba kakasabi ko lang direct relationship to, the science and technology. So once mag-improve to, once science will be improved, when technology improves, of course, it will make life easier in the society. Of course, the society benefits from it. Of course, not all, no, in science will produce technology, no? Not all. So ito yung dahilan nito, this relationship. So this is not only technology, hindi lang siya gamit, no? There is an idea and a concept there na it's very useful in the society also, no? Straight from science, no, that improves the society also. Okay? Kung technology makes life easier to society, science seeks to improve society also. So that is how society no, benefits from both. Okay? So that's it. Okay, so now we will go to science and results. So people do not understand science are won over when the discipline is able to produce results. Okay? So, science pag walang results is useless. Okay? So, it is always, doon pa lang sa scientific method class, no? Kapag when you come up with a conclusion and recommendation, there is always a result. Okay? So, in this particular argument, however, science is not the only discipline which is able to produce result. No? Kasi hindi lang science, kasi meron pang iba. There is religion, sorry, my mistake. Luck and human randomness are some of its contemporaries in the field, no? So, kakasabi ko lang, class, di ba, napaka-vast ng knowledge. So, hindi lang science ang nandyan. So, meron pang religion, meron pang luck, no? Like the feng shui, like mga indigenous belief na namanapan natin sa mga early Filipinos, no? Like hindi pwede magwalis, hindi pwede kumanta kapag nagluluto ka kasi there is a consequences to that. And of course, human randomness. Okay? Human randomness is how varied we are, no? Kasi iba-ibang human. So iba-iba din yung belief ng bawat tao. Okay? So for some communities without access to science, they can turn to divination. No, yung mga communities na walang science class, nagiging iba na, parang nagiging albularyo na kasi nagkukon sila sa divination and superstition, no? And still get same results. Okay? So, but not the same like what science can produce, no? It may be a simple um, result, no? But not really like what science, technology that came from science really can produce, okay? So science, remember class, is not entirely foolproof, okay? Hindi ang foolproof class such that it is correct 100% of the time, okay? Hindi yan always 100% of the time. Remember, look, sometimes you can see, no, when you look at the book, science books, no, makikita ninyo that there are, for example, science, second edition, science, the same book, pero may 5th edition. Science, may 7th edition. Ma'am, ano yan siya, ma'am? Bakit may ganyan? Bakit may 7th edition, 8th edition? Iba-iba ba yan siya? Yung book na yan? No, it's the same book. But, remember, science is always innovating. And science is always upgrading. So, there is some, like us, no, today, for every month, for every days, there is a new discovery, no, na nangyayari. So, of course, all the concept will be obsolete. Mawawala na yan. Okay, so kaya kailangan mong i-edit na naman yung book na yon, and then you need to upgrade and you need to conform, no, kung ano yung mga bago, kasi minsan kasi kung anong bagong na-discover, yung old natatanggal na, or kahit yung old, wala pang na-discover na mas upgraded version pa nun, hinahayaan lang yan as it is. No? So that's the reason why a science book, kapag 10 years na, hindi mo na yan magamit. Kasi all the concept and ideas na yan ang nandyan. No? Unlike mathematics. Kasi ang mathematics, ever since then, ay mathematics pa rin ngayon. Yung paano mag-add, paano mag-minus, paano mag-subtract, that is the same. That is in contrast with science. Okay? So now we will talk about, when we talk about not foolproof, we will talk about theory and law. Okay? So first, theory explains why natural phenomena occur. Okay? So law summarizes sets of observation about natural phenomena. So both of these are, the theory and law are based on hypotheses. Okay? So both of these also can be used to make predictions. And both of these also can be revised. Okay? So, bakit kailangan ng revision? Okay, so yun na yung kakasabi ko kanina. May nangyayaring bago, no? Especially in this time, okay, in these modern times. Kasi, masyado na tayong, we are adapting actually the culture of research. Okay? So, ma'am, paano mo nasabi, ma'am, na we are really adapting the culture of research? First is how our healthcare and the medical technology improve. Okay? For example, like making the vaccine, do you think that without the improvement of the concept of medical science, makakagawa tayo ng makakagawa tayo ng vaccine? No, we cannot do that. Okay? Like airplanes, no? Dati walang airplane, nagbabarko lang. Okay? So ngayon, nag-airplane lang tao because it is much more convenient, it is much faster to go from one place to another even though it is very far. Okay? So ganun ang ganun ang transition ng science actually. Dati sobrang mahal ng pamasahe, ngayon sa eroplano ngayon is mura na lang. Like for example, the mobile phones. Okay. So, let's start before that. The telephones. Okay, before pa yung mga mobile phones. Sino ba may telephone dati? Di ba usually, yung mga may telephone sa bahay, yun yung mga may kaya, mayayaman. Okay? Ngayon, kahit sino pwede na magkaroon ng telephone. Okay? The mobile phone. Okay, so mga mobile phones dati, magkano ang mobile phones? 20,000 and yet black and white ang screen, pagkaliit-liit ang lalaki ng number. The SIM cards. Okay? Dati ngayon magkano na lang ang SIM card? 20 pesos? Dati, it's not 20 pesos. Ang pinakaunang labas ng SIM card class is 2,000 pesos. Okay? Only the, middle class and the rich can afford to buy such a, actually it's a luxury. Now, all common people can have mobile phones. All common people can change their SIM card even every day in 1 month. Okay? Because there is a improvement in the technology. Why? Kasi dati kasi class, ang SIM card nilalagyan ng gold. No? Kailangan yung gold kasi na field. Of course, we know that gold is very expensive. That's the reason why it's very expensive also. Later on, because of material science, later on, because of the innovation of material science, other metal that is more cheaper can be used. So, much cheaper siya, mas mabibili ng lahat ng tao. That is the same concept, no, in the mobile phones also. Okay? So, ganun yan siya. So, I know that you are very very knowledgeable, no, in the mobile phones. So, for example, una LCD, okay? Liquid crystal display. And then later on naging LED, no, light emitting diode kasi mas clearer daw. And then yung LCD pa lang nung lumabas yung mga LED na screens, mahal masyadong LED. So, yung mga mayayaman na ang kaya, later on, naging mura ang LED. Nagkaroon na ng AMOLED. No, it is LED din, pero mas, I think, nagkaroon ng hybrid between LCD and LED. O yun, mahal din yun, tapos naging murang pa. And then meron na naman, bago na naman, AMOLED, nawala na naman yung hybrid between LCD. So, you see, no? And then may bago na naman na labas. Kaya nga, yung mga S-series and the mga iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, no? Hanggang anong iPhone na yan. And then the Samsung S1, S2, S3, S4, S9. Because there is a new technology that is introduced in that, mobile phone. Okay? So, yan. Diyan pa lang nakikita nyo na. Okay. So, now I think this is the last one. It will be in the Philippines, no? We will talk about science as an education. So, of course, science as an education is very widespread to all because, of course, before you will understand science, you must be oriented what is science, no, in a form of education. So, you must be educated, no? So, we will focus in our country, of course, in the Philippines. So, a large distribution of science high school can be found. Okay, so actually, there are many science high school, no? Our regional science high school, I think it's located in San Roque. So, that is a very known school, no, for mga very outstanding pupil, mga estudyante, because they have, they are maintaining a kind of grade, no, high grades, no, to be able to study there. So, forging competition for aspiring students to undergo rigorous science and mathematics training based on the special curricula. So, anong pagkakaiba ng science high school, ma'am, kesa sa mga regular high school, regular public school, high school, regular private high school, okay? So, it's actually, you have the same curriculum. You are following the same curriculum, but they have extracurricular which is specialized in science and mathematics, no? Kung meron silang mga extracurricular activity, puro yan about science and mathematics, no, like research, innovating technology, no, like that. Okay? So as a students, our preconditions, these students are pini-precondition na to sila that the field would later land them high-paying jobs and lucrative career after graduation. Okay? So, kasi yung iba dito, gusto nila mag-science because they believe they will land them high-paying jobs. So, ano yung mga high-paying jobs, ma'am, now when you will go in science high school? Like, for example, medical doctor. Okay? So we cannot deny that when you will be a medical doctor, you will be, of course, you have a high salary, okay? Engineers, okay? So like that. So that is under mathematics, no? So, simply mastering science technology would be inadequate if we are to say socialize with people or ruminate on our inner self. So, the true eudaimon, that is yung pinag-usapan natin kanina, that is happiness. Okay? Recognize that the flourishing requires one to excel in various dimensions such as linguistics, kinetic, artistics, and socio-civic. So, ibig sabihin, yung true happiness no ng human flourishing, hindi lang siya sa, it maybe science is a very big contributor, pero kailangan magkaroon ng variety of dimensions, not only science. So that meron din talagang ano to, the various dimensions, no, as it says, like linguistic, kinetics, and artistry. Okay, so this is the ano to tawag, this is the status of our scientists, no, here in the Philippines, no, in this current time. So we have 11,490 scientists. Okay, so wow, ma'am, ang dami nating scientists. Actually, no. No, this 11,900 scientists and engineers, ha, sa 11,490, in which 3,000 lang sa kanila, 198, no, work in the government. Okay, so pag ita-translate mo to in ratio, there is only 130 scientists and engineers per million population, and that is very small. Okay? Kasi walang masyadong nagkukuhan nga sa ano to tawag sa walang masyadong, they will not go to science forte or field because kasi mahirap, no, or mahirap maghanap ng work, no, there are many ano to tawag, there are many reason, no, there are many reason, or maybe hindi lang talaga nila alam na yan ang gusto nila kaya they did not pursue that ano to tawag, they did not pursue that kind of schooling. So hopefully, no, we will increase our scientists and engineers, no, in the future, that this generation and the future generation, no, will will take interest in science and in and engineering, because science and engineering is ano to tawag, is very very crucial and very important in the development of our country. Okay, so like for example, like now, okay, bakit crucial siya, ma'am? Like now, we are in pandemic today. So, now we are at the mercy of the first world country for their vaccines. So, kung hindi lang tayo lack of scientists, kung meron lang tayo dito scientists na knows how to make vaccines and the technology for it, then we are not waiting for the vaccines right now. No? Makakagawa na tayo mismo dito, and then we can ano to tawag, maybe, no, that is a very we are hopeful, no, wishful thinking na tayo lahat na vaccinate na. Okay, so that is the reality of our science and technology in the Philippines. Okay, so now before we will end our lesson, no, first we must first reflect on the question. So first is reflect, what do you think constitutes human flourishing? Okay, reflect on that. Okay, second, were we successful so far in trying to tie down technology with what we conceive as human flourishing? Okay, so on the next meeting, we will answer that question. Okay, so that will be the end for the topic for lesson 2.1. Okay, thank you for listening, and God bless everyone, and always stay safe. Goodbye.